hug. I am Professor Stephen Hawking, the smartest bastard on the face of the earth. And I'm here to tell you that you do not have to be a fucking rocket scientist to realize that compared to an economy car, your average motorcycle, even with a whiz-bang fairing, is about as aerodynamic as I am. As every arsewipe lucky enough to be able to ride a bicycle tells me, improved aerodynamics makes cycling more energy efficient, and allows you to travel faster over greater distances. A recumbent riding position is more comfortable while adding a fairing can provide weather protection as well as speed. If one can decrease aerodynamic drag, and at the same time improve comfort and energy efficiency of a bicycle, imagine what might be possible with a faster vehicle. Go on. Imagine it. Pretty damn cool, huh? Okay. As a vehicle moves faster, the aerodynamic drag becomes more important. So, if you ride twice as fast, rolling resistance becomes twice as big, but the aerodynamic drag increases exponentially with velocity. If streamlining can do so much for comfort, speed and fuel economy, why the hell do we not see truly aerodynamically streamlined motorcycles on the road? From the 1930s to the 1950s, racing motorcycles progressively got more streamlined, and that made them much faster. However, the tracks, tires and brakes of the times could not handle the higher speeds, and more accidents happened. To prevent such accidents, the Federation of International Motorcycle Racing limited streamlining. The front fairing was limited to the center of the front wheel vertically and on the rear to the back of the rear wheel. And as many people like to buy something that at least resembles winning racers, that is what the major manufacturers sell. It is a pity this decision was made. Motorcycles might have looked very different today if it had not been for these stupid bloody fucktards. So what can be done? If you start to think about it, you will see much more potential to make aerodynamic improvements on a motorcycle than on a car or a bicycle. Or even a frigging wheelchair. The cyclist lacks the power to reach a cruising speed where almost all resistance he meets is induced by aerodynamic drag. The car has a much bigger frontal area, but a much better streamline, and its higher weight increases rolling resistance, therefore it is still a major factor at 100 kilometers per hour. The average motorcycle, though, is relatively light, but has a very bad aerodynamic shape. At 100 kilometers per hour, 90% of all resistance is due to aerodynamic drag, and only 10% are rolling resistance. Reducing air resistance on a motorcycle is, therefore, very effective. Okay, I'm not the first person to realize this. I mean, it's hardly rocket science, is it? Tree-hugging eco-nuts have been farting around with streamlined shapes for electric and solar-powered vehicles for years, but they all seem to make the same simple frigging mistake. The super efficient, clamshell designs they all seem to come up with are freaking death traps. One gust of wind, and bingo.
Hey, look! Sergeant Dork!
Happens all the time.
Oopsie.
Hello!
As much as I enjoy watching tree huggers earning a place in the Darwin Awards, there is a real danger in these eco-friendly aerodynamic fiberglass coffins that may not be immediately apparent, but is very real to the motorcycling community. As more of these death traps find their way onto our roads, there will, without doubt, be an increase in rider deaths as novice riders find themselves wiped out by a simple varying gust of wind and the wakes and bow waves of heavy trucks and even large four-wheel drives. As much as I am usually in favor of this Darwinian culling of the species, in this instance it would, doubtless, lead to a knee-jerk reaction from our dickhead lawmakers, placing even more restrictions on the motorcycling community. The basic problem is that these eco-Nazis and diesel dykes normally ride motorcycles about as often as I ride a Victoria's Secret model. Okay, so what shape is best from the aerodynamic viewpoint? Well, the classic teardrop shape would be hard to beat. However, the length-to-width ratios needed for minimum drag would render a normal motorcycle too long. To shorten the body by bringing the rear in at a steeper angle only cause turbulence and increased drag, it is much better to design a long thin body and just cut it off at the tail to give the required length. This sort of fools the air into almost acting as if the tail portion was still there. This is known as a camtail after the man who first thought of it. Even with a camtail, a conventional bike is difficult to streamline really efficiently because of the various cutouts needed for practical reasons, such as getting on it and putting one's feet down when stopped, etc. Improvements can certainly be made though. Against most current emphasis, the place to start is at the rear of the machine. The flow around the high pressure areas at the front can reasonably well take care of themselves, but anything that smooths the flow at the back and helps reduce the size of the weight would really be beneficial. My opinion is that you want to get good aerodynamics, and not seek 100% perfection. The simple fact is, a little streamlining goes a very long way. The main thing is to cut your frontal area by about half, and get some smoothness in the front to keep the air out of the pocket that forms between your arms and chest area. That pocket generates a huge wake. It's like riding a concave shape with the edges facing forward into the wind. Really friggin' bad. And consider that a regular motorcycle has the drag coefficient of a cube at about 1. If you can simply get to the level of a half sphere, you have cut your wind resistance by a half. The fully streamlined shape can get as low as 0.04, which is way better than the half sphere. But it doesn't change the fact that we were starting from a cube shape. Perfection is the enemy of good enough. Hence, the Strato Sled. The goal of which is to build a one-person motorcycle with excellent weather protection, comfortable seating position, and luggage space big enough to store a helmet, and at least 1 six-pack of beer. Here is a quick slideshow showing some of the design inspirations for the Strato Sled. Enjoy!
Motherfucker on a motorcycle. Oh, I'm a motherfucker on a motorcycle. Oh, I'm a motherfucker on a motorcycle. I'm a motherfucker on a motorcycle. Well, my pills are white, my leather's black, my chick creeps tied to my motherfucking back. Oh, I'm a motherfucker on a motorcycle. 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 With an axe to grind, shoot on the hip like a porcupine. I'm a motherfucker on a motorcycle. I like to get drunk, I like to get high, I love it when the crowd goes on. I like to get drunk, I like to get high, I love it when the crowd goes on. motorcycle.
She's a motherfucker on a motorcycle.
Oh, I'm a motherfucker on a motorcycle.
Yeah, she's a motherfucker on a motorcycle.
Oh, I'm a motherfucker on a motorcycle. Oh, I'm a motherfucker on a motorcycle.
Motherfucker on a motorcycle.
Respect. And peace out, my nigger.